So first off, I know I haven't made that many videos for this account, so I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna try to upload a video every day or every other day, or maybe multiple videos. It's a lot easier now that I live alone, um, because I can just do a video whenever I want to talk about something. I have a lot of backed up ideas to share with everyone, so hopefully people will tune in. Um, First thing, I just finished DMT The Spirit Molecule, and it was a pretty broad book. I think the guy that wrote it, Dr. Strassman, wasn't he didn't really he didn't really zone in on exactly what he wanted to. Um, so I think the book ended up being more of a very general, um, broad overview of DMT and psychedelics in general, rather than anything specifically enlightening. Um, so it was more, I think it was more geared at people on the fence on whether or not to use psychedelics um, rather than experienced psychedelic users. Although there were some things that are worth deriving and talking about. Like I was reading the book, and I was going through the different trip reports or experiences, or however you want to label it, and all of a sudden I just this theory kind of dawned in my head. Um, what if people that have schizophrenia, right? Or people that hear voices even only while they're tripping, um, or they see or perceive other beings, and relating that to reincarnation. So here's what I was thinking, and I don't necessarily think this is this is a valid theory. I'm not going to live my life by this. I think the chance of this is probably quite low, but I think it's new and it's interesting, and I want someone to prove me directly, tell me why my theory's wrong if it is, so that I can move on beyond it. Um, but what I was thinking is what if, instead of reincarnation in the sense that your soul moves on from one um, body to the next, what if it's more, I have this life right now, and when I die and look to reincarnate, I'm going to bring every past life along with me into the next life. And so what if people that hear voices in their head, what if those are actually their past lives, the entities of their past lives that have to kind of take a back seat, but all are very opinionated, apparently. Um, and what if our body is designed in such a way to kind of shut them out, um, unless we need their help? Um, and there are a lot of reasons why this isn't uh, entirely preposterous, because a theory like this, where each individual is really a collective of all their past lives, all at the same time within them, I think it actually clears up quite a few questions that we might have about inherent beliefs and things like that. How do you inherently believe something? I don't think that's necessarily even possible, to inherently believe that something is this way or that way. Um, but what we do have is potentially beings within us, our former selves, all collected within us, um, that have that information wired in, where to the point where if we could access that, um, you'd become a superhuman, in terms of your perception and thought, because you have so many so much intelligence to build off of. And it's pretty easy to tear down and say, well, why do we have so many stupid people? Why are the majority of people um, seeming to become less intelligent? And it's a very simple answer: is we can't necessarily access the people in the back of our minds making decisions, and I'm sure there are manners in which, even more than a lack of access, that they are stifled to a certain degree, and their relevance is, it kind of dissipates. Um, but I think it's somewhat viable, to, for anyone that hears a voice, or even if it doesn't, even if a thought doesn't manifest in such a way that it's a voice speaking to you, because that's sort of generically what someone assumes is what a crazy person is like. But what if we just take, for example, um, just the idea of spontaneous thoughts. I'm sure everyone watching has had a spontaneous thought at one point or another, and is that we can say that's our own consciousness coming up with it, um, and at some extremely high, highly functioning and high processing level, and it only comes across as something spontaneous. But I think it might be equally valid to say that they're actual, um, there's a certain collection of former selves within each person that obviously has a vested interest in the person. They wanna develop the person that's currently in control, as much as they possibly can, um, so that eventually whatever the goal of the universe is, I'm sure it would be better. The more people you have, the more collective the thoughts are, the better chance we have at deciphering what that is. So that's really the vested interest, to kind of evolve each person that's sort of in control of the physical plane. Um, you know, to get them evolved to their max capacity. And there are a lot of intertwining reasons why this isn't so preposterous, because we could even go as far as to say that if there are different planes of reality, that perhaps we lay hidden within someone else's consciousness through their reality, which which is, I know that's a little far-fetched, but take for example even beings that we perceive during a psychedelic experience. Um, we could say those beings are extraterrestrial or interdimensional, but there's also a thought that perhaps they're part of our subconscious, and what those different beings could actually be are um, perhaps just past lives, being perceived in either a different form, or perhaps the method of reincarnation is actually quite complex, and doesn't limit itself to human species, which would explain um, kind of how an introspection could lead to um, interdimensional travel and extraterrestrial beings. Um, Now, the problem with this is you have to automatically believe in reincarnation for this to even be possible. Um, the reason I believe in some form of reincarnation, whether it's this theory that I don't have a ton of conviction, and I'm just kind of throwing it out there, and see if anyone can reciprocate. Um, but I believe in some sense of reincarnation because uh, during my very first psychedelic experience, I experienced death, and rebirth, and it was a very, very powerful, and I can still, vividly remember what that was like. And I remember I just wanted to do it over and over and over again, because it was such a novelty experience. There's nothing else like it, really. So I certainly believe in death and rebirth. Um, and during one of my more recent experiences within the past year, I've been feeling this sort of, I guess, entity composed of just, I guess, reverberating, um, a reverberating color spectrum, which almost turns out to be like someone that's cloaked, and the cloak is just a reverberating gathering of colors, and it's just pulsating, and I feel like this, it's like this internal guide, and I really experience it as I understand this, whatever this entity is, it is me, um, and I always experience it to some degree within a control room, and I feel like it's some inner being that's in a control room. And that being is somehow me, or somehow very closely connected to who I am, even though I don't recognize the being. So, part of this video and this thought process is just kind of trying to help me, figure it out for myself. Throwing out ideas out there, but that's all it is. It's just an idea. So any feedback would be great. Um, But yeah, let me know. I'll be coming out with a bunch of videos. I have a lot to talk about, especially after reading the book The Spirit Molecule. So hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.